Elara Bianchi had never been to a Mafia wedding. She wasn't exactly invited, just hired to create the floral decorations for Villa Nero, a job that would pay 3 months' rent for her tiny flower shop. The ballroom was a cathedral of white roses and crystal chandeliers filled with dangerous men in expensive suits. Elara adjusted the final arrangement, her hands trembling slightly. Everyone here spoke in hushed tones, eyes constantly scanning for threats. This wasn't her world. The music swelled. Isabetta Nero descended the marble staircase like an ice queen in her Valentino gown, cold beauty radiating power. Her groom, some alliance pawn Elara didn't recognize, waited at the altar with visible nervousness. Then the double doors exploded open. Dante Corvino entered flanked by 10 armed men. The ballroom erupted into chaos, screams, weapons being drawn, chairs toppling. Elara dove behind the gift table, her heart hammering against her ribs. "Isabetta," Dante's voice cut through the pandemonium like a blade. "This wedding will not happen. Vittorio Rossi won't unite families through you." But his eyes weren't on the bride. They were on Elara, crouched, terrified, devastatingly out of place among the wolves. Her green eyes reflected the chandelier lights like emeralds in darkness. Something primal stirred in Dante's chest, unfamiliar and dangerous. Time seemed to freeze as he walked toward her, ignoring the dozen weapons now pointed at his head. His men held the perimeter, but the tension was a living thing, ready to explode into violence at any second. He stopped before her hiding place, extending one hand. Blood stained his cufflinks. She noticed with a mixture of horror and fascination. "You don't belong in this world, Bellissima." His voice was velvet over steel. "Come with me. Now." "I don't even know you." Elara's voice shook, but there was defiance there, fire beneath the fear. Dante's lips curved into a wolf's smile. "Then you'll get to know me. But if you stay here, they'll use you against me. And I just made you mine simply by looking at you." "You're insane," she whispered, but her hand was already moving toward his. Against all logic, against every survival instinct, she felt pulled to him like a moth to a flame that promised to consume her entirely. "Dante Corvino!" Isabetta's shriek pierced the moment. Her face was contorted with rage, all aristocratic beauty twisted into something ugly. "You dare interrupt my wedding? You'll start a war." "War was already declared when your family killed my brother," Dante said coldly, finally looking at the bride. "This marriage was just another strategy. I'm ending it." His hand closed around Elara's, pulling her to her feet. The contact sent electricity through her entire body. Up close, he was devastating. Sharp jawline, gray eyes that held storms, and a dangerous charisma that made her forget how to breathe. "Let go of the girl," Isabetta commanded, her eyes narrowing as she studied Elara. Something flickered in her expression. Calculation. Recognition? "She's nobody. A simple florist." "Then you won't mind if I take her," Dante countered, already backing toward the door. Elara pressed against his side. The tension in the room was suffocating. Elara could feel the weight of every weapon, every pair of eyes tracking their movement. One wrong step, and this would end in a bloodbath. "You'll regret this, Corvino." Isabetta's voice dropped to a venomous whisper that somehow carried across the silent ballroom. "That little flower girl, she's more interesting than you know. Much more." Dante paused, his grip on Elara tightening protectively. "What are you talking about?" Isabetta's smile was pure malice. "Let's just say, Vittorio Rossi would be very interested to know who's been hiding right under his nose, in a little shop on Via Toledo, arranging roses, completely unaware of her real father." Elara's blood turned to ice. "What?" But Dante was already moving, practically carrying her through the doors. Gunfire erupted behind them, his men providing cover as they escaped into the night. She was shoved into a black Mercedes, Dante sliding in beside her as the car screamed away from the villa. "What did she mean?" Elara demanded, her whole body shaking. "My father died when I was a baby. I never knew him. What was she talking about?" Dante studied her in the dim light, something like regret crossing his features. Vittorio Rossi, the most dangerous man in Naples, my greatest enemy. He paused, jaw clenching. If Isabetta is right, if you're his daughter, then I just claimed the one woman who could destroy everything. That's impossible, Elara breathed, but doubt crept into her voice. She'd always wondered about her past, the gaps in her mother's stories before she died. I need to know the truth, Dante said quietly, his hand still holding hers. But until then, you're under my protection. Isabetta won't keep this secret long. She'll use it as a weapon. Against you? Against both of us. His eyes met hers, intense and tormented. Because even knowing what I know, even understanding this could cost me everything. I can't let you go, Elara Bianchi. Not now. Maybe not ever. The city lights blurred past the windows as the Mercedes sped into the dangerous unknown. Elara's life as a simple florist had just shattered like glass, replaced by something thrilling and terrifying. And the way Dante looked at her, like she was salvation and damnation wrapped in one, made her realize she might not want to go back to her old life anyway, even if it killed them both. The safe house was a fortress disguised as elegance, marble floors, Renaissance paintings, and enough security to protect a president. Elara stood in the center of the living room, arms wrapped around herself, feeling like a prisoner in a gilded cage. Dante poured whiskey with steady hands, though his mind was anything but calm. Every instinct he'd honed over 15 years screamed danger. Not from external threats, from the woman standing 10 feet away, looking fragile and fierce simultaneously. Drink, he offered, extending a crystal glass. She shook her head. I want answers. Who is Vittorio Rossi? Why would that woman say he's my father? Vittorio Rossi, Dante began, his voice hard, runs the Rossi family. Weapons trafficking, political corruption, murder. 20 years ago, he was untouchable. Then he lost something precious, a daughter. She was 2 years old when she disappeared with her mother after a rival family attacked their estate. Elara's face paled. That doesn't mean... You're 22. You grew up without a father. Your mother, what was her name? Giuliana, she whispered. She never talked about my father, said he was dangerous, that we were safer without him. The pieces clicked into place with sickening clarity. Dante downed his whiskey in one burning gulp. Giuliana Bianchi. She was Rossi's mistress before she ran, before she took you. No. Elara backed away, her legs hitting the sofa. I'm nobody, just a florist. This is insane. I wish it were. Dante's jaw clenched. But Isabetta Nero doesn't bluff. She has sources everywhere. If she knows, others will soon know too. Then let me go home. Forget this happened. Forget me. You think it's that simple? His voice rose, frustration bleeding through his control. Isabetta saw us together. She saw me protect you, claim you in front of everyone. In our world, that's a declaration. Add your bloodline, and you just became the most valuable piece on the chessboard. I'm not a piece, Elara's eyes blazed. I'm a person with a life I built from nothing. I don't want your protection or this nightmare. Dante crossed the distance between them in 3 strides, gripping her shoulders. What you want stopped mattering the moment I walked through those doors. Rossi will hunt you to reclaim his lost daughter. Isabetta will use you to destroy me, and every enemy I've made, and there are many, will see you as leverage. This close, she could feel the heat radiating from him, smell expensive cologne mixed with danger. Her breath caught. And what do you see me as? The question hung between them, loaded and lethal. I don't know yet, he admitted, his voice dropping to barely a whisper. And that terrifies me more than any war. His phone shattered the moment. Dante released her, stepping back as he answered. Speak. Elara watched his expression darken, watched the predator resurface. How many? A pause. No survivors. Clean it. He ended the call, already moving toward his weapons cabinet. What happened? Isabetta sent a message. She killed Marco, my consigliere, left him outside my club with a note. His hands worked efficiently, checking magazines, strapping on holsters. She's forcing my hand. What did the note say? Dante's eyes met hers, storm gray and merciless. Ask your flower girl about her birthmark. The rose on her left shoulder blade. Rossi will recognize his daughter's marking. Elara's hand instinctively went to her shoulder, where indeed a rose-shaped birthmark had always been. Her mother said it was a gift from angels. But now, this can't be happening, she breathed. It already has. Dante holstered his gun, then approached her again, softer this time. His fingers tilted her chin up, forcing her to meet his gaze. I need to know something, Elara. Before this goes further, before more blood spills, are you afraid of me? She should say yes. Should recoil from the killer standing before her, from the violence that clung to him like a second skin. Instead, she answered honestly, I'm more afraid of how much I'm not afraid of you. Something ignited in his eyes, hunger, possession, need. His thumb traced her lower lip, and she trembled. Dangerous answer, bellissima. Everything about this is dangerous, she whispered. He leaned closer, his breath ghosting across her mouth. If you're Rossi's daughter, this ends one of two ways. I return you to him, and we broker peace built on your life. Or I keep you. Start a war that will paint Naples red, and damn both our souls in the process. Those are my only options. Her voice was stronger now, defiant. Be traded like property or be the reason people die. Welcome to my world, Fiore. Nothing is clean here. Nothing is simple. Then maybe, she said, her hand gripping his shirt, pulling him closer despite every logical thought screaming to run. Maybe we find a third option. Together. Dante's control fractured. He nearly kissed her, nearly claimed that defiant mouth, and sealed both their fates. But discipline, brutal and iron-willed, made him step back. You should rest. Tomorrow I verify your identity. If you're truly Rossi's daughter, he didn't finish. Couldn't. And if I am? Then loving you becomes an act of war. He turned away, heading for the door. And I've never lost a war, Elara. I won't start now. She stood alone in the vast room, heart racing, body aching for a touch that would destroy everything. Outside, Naples glittered like scattered diamonds over corruption and blood. Her phone, forgotten in her purse, buzzed with a message from an unknown number. Sweet Elara, your father has searched for you for 20 years. Soon you'll meet him. And soon, Dante Corvino will learn that some prizes cost more than kingdoms. Sleep well, little Rose. Tomorrow everything changes. Isabetta's poison had already begun its work. Dawn broke over Naples like a wound, red and bleeding. Elara hadn't slept. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Dante's face, torn between desire and duty, want and war. She found him in the study, surrounded by papers, photographs, documents. He looked up when she entered, exhaustion etched into his features. I had my people dig through everything, he said without preamble. Hospital records, birth certificates, witness statements from 20 years ago. He slid a photograph across the desk. Elara picked it up with trembling hands. A young woman holding a toddler, both with the same green eyes, the same dark curls. That's my mother, she whispered. And me. Taken 3 weeks before you disappeared. The man standing behind you both. Dante pointed to a figure in the shadows. Vittorio Rossi. Your father. The room tilted. Elara gripped the desk edge, knees threatening to give out. No, this can't be real. DNA would confirm it, but we don't have time for that. Isabetta already sent this to Rossi last night. He showed her his phone. A message thread with a blocked number. Photos of Elara at the wedding, close-ups of her face, and finally an image of her birthmark, clearly photoshopped from somewhere. How did she get that? She has eyes everywhere. The question isn't how, it's what happens next. Dante stood, moving around the desk but maintaining careful distance. Rossi responded an hour ago. He wants to meet you. Today. Noon. Neutral ground. And if I refuse? He'll come for you anyway, and innocents will die in the crossfire. His voice was hollow. This is the world you've inherited, Elara. Blood and consequences. She laughed bitterly. Some inheritance. A father I never knew who's apparently a monster and a... She stopped, unable to name what Dante was to her. And a what? He stepped closer, dangerous and magnetic. Say it. A man I shouldn't want but can't stop thinking about, she breathed. A man who's probably my father's greatest enemy. Not probably. Definitely. His hand rose to her face, cupping her cheek with surprising gentleness. Your father ordered the hit that killed my brother, murdered him in front of his children. That blood debt can never be repaid. Elara's eyes filled with tears. Then we're doomed before we even begin. Yes. But his thumb wiped away a falling tear, his touch lingering. And yet I can't... The door burst open. Dante's second-in-command, Lorenzo, entered looking grim. Boss, we have a situation. 3 of our shipments were hit overnight. Rossi's signature all over it. He's sending a message. Dante's hand dropped from Elara's face, the moment shattered. How much did we lose? 2 million, plus 6 men. The temperature in the room plummeted. Elara watched Dante transform. The man who'd touched her so tenderly became something cold and lethal. Assemble the captains. We respond tonight. His voice was ice. Dante, wait. Elara grabbed his arm. More killing won't solve this. He looked at her like she'd spoken a foreign language. This is what I am, Elara. What I'll always be. Your father struck at me. I strike back harder. It's the only language our world understands. Then your world is broken. Yes. He pulled free of her grip. And you're part of it now, whether you like it or not. Lorenzo, take her to get ready. We meet Rossi in 3 hours. The restaurant was closed to the public, but power radiated from every corner. Vittorio Rossi sat at the head table like a king holding court, silver-haired, distinguished, with eyes the same shade of green as Elara's. When he saw her enter beside Dante, he stood slowly, his expression cracking for just a moment. Juliana, he whispered. My mother's name, Elara said coldly. Not mine. You look exactly like her. Rossi moved forward, but Dante's hand on Elara's lower back stopped them both. The possessive gesture wasn't lost on anyone. Corvino. Rossi's voice hardened. Release my daughter. She's not your daughter, Dante replied smoothly. She's a woman who's lived 20 years without you. You have no claim. I have every claim. Blood, family, legacy. Rossi's eyes narrowed. And you, touching her, bringing her into this, is the greatest insult you could offer. Perhaps, Dante smiled dangerously. That was the point. Elara stepped between them, fury overriding fear. I'm standing right here. Stop talking about me like I'm property to be claimed or traded. Both men stared at her. Rossi's expression softened slightly. You have her fire. Juliana was fierce too before... He stopped. Before you drove her away? Elara challenged. Before your violence made her run with a 2-year-old, living in poverty, hiding, always afraid? I protected you the only way I knew how, by letting you go. Rossi's voice cracked. Every day for 20 years I searched, and now, when I finally find you, you're with him. The hatred in that final word could have drawn blood. She's with me because Isabella Nero exposed her to save her own skin, Dante interjected. This meeting? It's a trap. Isabella wants us to destroy each other. As if summoned, Isabella glided into the restaurant, impeccably dressed, smile venomous. Am I interrupting this touching family reunion? You weren't invited, Rossi growled. Yet here I am. She circled the table like a shark. Dante, darling, have you told them the best part? Show them the ring. Elara's blood froze. What ring? Dante's jaw clenched, a muscle twitching. Isabetta laughed, pulling out her phone. 3 years ago, Dante Corvino was engaged. To me. Until he discovered I was feeding information to you, Vittorio. He called it off rather dramatically. Shot my brother in the kneecaps as a wedding gift. That's ancient history, Dante said through gritted teeth. Is it? Isabetta's eyes glittered with malice. Because I still carry the ring he gave me. And more importantly, I carry his child. The world stopped. Elara felt her heart crack. What? 3 months along, Isabetta purred, one hand on her flat stomach. A Corvino heir, which makes this little reunion quite complicated, doesn't it? Tell me, Dante, are you choosing the daughter of your enemy over your own blood? Dante's face was stone, but his eyes found Elara's, tortured and desperate. She's lying. Am I? Isabetta produced a medical document. Dated 2 weeks ago. Positive pregnancy test. And before you ask for DNA, we were together that night in Rome, remember? When you were drunk after Marco died, when you needed to forget? The truth was a knife between ribs. Elara saw it in Dante's expression, the memory, the possibility, the horror. Elara! He reached for her. She stepped back, shaking. Don't! Just don't! Rossi moved to his daughter's side, his hand on her shoulder. For the first time, she didn't pull away. Come home, figlia mia. Leave this poisoned world behind. Let me give you the life your mother wanted for you. And start a war? Elara's voice broke. The war already started, Rossi said gently. The moment Corvino touched what's mine, Dante's control shattered. She's not yours. She'll never be yours either, Isabetta whispered triumphantly. Not now, not with my child binding you to me forever. Elara looked at Dante, the man she'd known for barely 2 days, but who'd already carved himself into her soul. Looked at the father she'd never known, offering sanctuary. Looked at Isabetta, poison wearing Prada. I need air, she managed, turning toward the exit. Elara! Dante followed, but Rossi's men blocked his path. She ran. Outside, rain poured like the sky was weeping. A black car pulled up. Not Dante's, not Rossi's. The window lowered. An older woman sat inside, elegant and sad. Elara Bianchi. Who are you? Someone who loved your mother. Someone who knows the truth about everything. Rossi, Corvino, even Isabetta's lies. She opened the door. Get in, child, before they destroy you like they destroyed Juliana. Behind her, Elara heard shouting, Dante's voice rising above the storm. She had seconds to decide. Trust the stranger. Trust Dante. Trust Rossi. Or trust no one. Her hand reached for the car door. Elara slid into the car, water dripping from her hair, heart hammering. The woman studied her with eyes that held decades of secrets. I'm Caterina Vitale, your mother's sister. The air left Elara's lungs. My mother never mentioned, because I was dead to her the moment she ran. Caterina's voice carried old wounds. I chose loyalty to Rossi. She chose you. We never spoke again. Then why now? Because history is repeating itself and I won't watch another Bianchi woman destroyed by Corvino men. She handed Elara a worn journal. Your mother's diary. Read it. Know the truth before you lose yourself to pretty words and dangerous eyes. Elara opened the leather-bound book with trembling hands. Her mother's handwriting swam before her eyes. Dante's father, Alessandro Corvino, promised me everything. Said he'd leave the life, that we'd disappear together. I believed him. God help me, I believed every beautiful lie, until Vittorio found out, until Alessandro chose power over love, until I became the pawn that started a war between families. My daughter will never know this curse. She'll never love a Corvino. I'll die before I let history repeat. The entry ended abruptly. She died 2 years later, Caterina said softly. Heart gave out. But it wasn't illness that killed her. It was a broken heart and endless running. Dante's father. Elara's voice was barely audible. Alessandro Corvino seduced your mother while she was under Rossi's protection. Used her, got information, betrayed her. When Vittorio discovered the affair, he went mad with rage. He loved Giuliana deeply, you see. The war between Corvino and Rossi families, it started over your mother, and it's never ended. The car wound through Naples' dark streets. Elara felt sick. Dante doesn't know? Alessandro died 10 years ago without telling him, but Vittorio knows. He's always known. Caterina's expression hardened. That's why finding you with Dante Corvino shattered him. In his eyes, history is repeating. Another Bianchi woman falling for a Corvino snake. I'm not falling for... But the lie died on her lips. Aren't you? Caterina smiled sadly. I see it in your eyes, child. The same fever your mother had. The Corvino men have something poisonous in their blood. They make you crave your own destruction. Elara stared at the journal, her mother's pain bleeding through every word. What am I supposed to do? Rossi has offered you a choice. Come to him willingly, accept your place in the family, and he'll spare Dante's life. Refuse, and Naples burns. Caterina pulled up to an unfamiliar mansion. He's waiting inside. This is your chance to end the cycle of violence. By sacrificing myself? By being smarter than your mother, by choosing survival over passion. Vittorio Rossi's estate was a fortress of old money and older grudges. He stood by the fireplace, a glass of wine in hand, looking every inch the king he believed himself to be. You came. Relief flooded his features. I came for answers. Elara held up the journal. Did you know? About my mother and Alessandro Corvino? His face darkened. Every painful detail. She confessed everything after I dragged her from his bed. And you kept her anyway? I loved her. The words exploded from him. Despite her betrayal, despite carrying another man's lies to my enemies, I loved her. I would have forgiven everything if she'd stayed. Elara's world tilted. What are you saying? Rossi's laugh was bitter. You think I'm your father? Child, I raised you as mine, claimed you as mine, but... He pulled out another document, a DNA test. Alessandro Corvino was your biological father. You're a Corvino by blood. The room spun. No, that's impossible. Your mother discovered it after you were born. That's why she ran, not from me, but from the truth. She couldn't bear that you carried Corvino blood. He moved closer. But I searched for you anyway, because I loved Giuliana enough to love her daughter, regardless of whose seed created you. Elara backed away, mind fracturing. Dante can't know. He can't. He will. Rossi's phone buzzed. He looked at it, his expression shifting to something calculating. In fact, he's about to discover something equally devastating. Across the city, Dante stood in Isabetta's apartment, rage barely contained. You're lying about the pregnancy. Am I? She reclined on velvet, enjoying his turmoil. Why don't you ask your doctor friend who examined me? I will. He pulled out his phone, dialing. The conversation was brief, clipped. When he hung up, his face had drained of color. Isabetta's smile was victorious. He confirmed it, didn't he? 8 weeks. Which means, it's not mine. Dante's voice was flat, deadly. 8 weeks ago I was in Moscow. We haven't been together in 3 months. Her smile faltered. You can't prove... I can. And I will demand DNA the second that child is born. He leaned close, predatory. Who's the father, Isabetta? What game are you really playing? She laughed, high and brittle. Fine, it's not yours. It's Rossi's lieutenant, Marco Santi. Happy? But the beauty of lies, Dante, is that they only need to work long enough to achieve their purpose. Which is? Separating you from that girl long enough for the real truth to surface. Isabella stood, all pretense of seduction gone. Did you know your father kept secrets? Delicious, family-destroying secrets? Dante grabbed her throat, not squeezing but holding her immobile. Speak. Your brother, the one Rossi killed? He wasn't investigating Rossi's operations for you. He was investigating your father. He discovered Alessandro had a child with Giuliana Bianchi. She watched understanding dawn in his eyes. That's right, darling. Elara isn't Rossi's daughter. She's yours, your half-sister. The world imploded. Dante released her, staggering back. You're lying. Am I? Ask yourself why your father never pursued Rossi over Giuliana's disappearance. Why he let it go. Why he drank himself to death carrying that secret. Isabella adjusted her dress calmly. Your brother found the DNA results in Alessandro's safe. That's why Rossi had him killed, to keep the secret buried. Where's the proof? She tossed him a flash drive. Your brother's files. Everything he discovered before he died, including the truth about your precious flower girl. Dante's phone rang. Lorenzo. Boss, you need to see this. Rossi just sent out a mass message to all families. He's claiming Elara as his heir and a pause. And he's releasing Alessandro's DNA results, proving she's a Corvino, your sister. The phone slipped from Dante's hand. Elara stood in Rossi's study, the DNA results burning her fingers. Why tell me now? Because Dante needed to know before he did something irreversible. Before you both crossed a line that can't be uncrossed. Rossi's voice was almost gentle. You felt it, didn't you? That pull between you. It's not love, child. It's recognition. Blood calling to blood. Stop. She felt bile rising. Just stop. I'm offering you truth and safety. Stay with me. Let me teach you this world. Let me protect you from the Corvino curse. He extended his hand. Or go back to him and face the horror of what you both nearly... A window exploded inward. Glass rained like diamonds as Dante crashed through, gun drawn, eyes wild and broken. You couldn't wait, could you? He aimed at Rossi. Couldn't let her decide for herself. Had to poison her against me. I'm saving her from you. Rossi moved in front of Elara protectively. From the same poison that killed her mother. She's my sister, Dante's voice cracked on the word. My blood, and I was ready to... He couldn't finish. The anguish on his face was unbearable. Elara stepped between them, tears streaming. Stop. Both of you, just stop. I can't. Dante lowered his gun, his expression destroyed. Every time I look at you, I see what I wanted, what I can never have, what's forbidden in ways I never imagined. Then don't look at me, she whispered, her own heart shattering. Just don't. A slow clap echoed through the room. Isabella stood in the doorway, phone recording everything. Magnificent, tragic, perfectly ruinous. Her smile was pure evil. And now every family in Naples will watch the Corvino and Rossi heirs torn apart by incestuous almost love. Your reputations are destroyed. Both families are weakened. And she laughed, I just became the most powerful woman in this city. She disappeared into the night, leaving destruction in her wake. Dante and Elara stared at each other across an unbridgeable chasm, siblings, strangers, star-crossed in the cruelest way possible. I'll find a way to prove she's lying, Dante said hoarsely. The DNA, the timing, something. And if she's not? Elara's voice broke. What then? He had no answer. Only the crushing weight of a love that could never be. 3 days of hell. That's what Elara counted as she stared at the DNA results for the 100th time, searching for something, anything, that didn't make sense. She'd moved into a neutral hotel, refusing both Rossi's mansion and Dante's protection. Lorenzo brought her meals she didn't eat, updates she didn't want to hear. Naples buzzed with scandal. The video Isabella released had gone viral in the underworld. Corvino and Rossi, united in impossible tragedy. A knock interrupted her spiraling thoughts. Go away, Lorenzo. Not Lorenzo. Dante's voice sent lightning through her veins. She opened the door against her better judgment. He looked wrecked, unshaven, haunted, dangerous in his desperation. "You shouldn't be here," she whispered. "I know." He pushed past her anyway, closing the door. "But I hired 3 independent labs. Had them run the DNA from Alessandro's files." Her heart stopped. "And?" "2 came back confirming. 1 came back inconclusive due to sample degradation." He pulled out a folder, hands shaking. "But here's what's interesting. The original test was run by a lab that burned down 4 years ago. All records lost. Convenient, isn't it?" "What are you saying?" "I'm saying Isabella is brilliant and thorough. What if she fabricated evidence? What if she paid off the right people, forged the right documents?" His eyes blazed with desperate hope. "What if we're not?" "Don't." Elara backed away. "Don't give me hope when we don't have proof. That's crueler than any truth." "Then let's get proof." He grabbed her shoulders. "There's one person who knows everything. Caterina, your aunt. She was there. She witnessed everything between Alessandro and your mother. She already told me the story." "Did she? Or did she tell you Isabetta's version?" Dante's mind worked visibly. "Think about it. Caterina shows up the exact moment you need saving. It feeds you your mother's journal. But how do we know that's real? How do we know any of this isn't orchestrated?" Elara's head spun. "Why would Isabetta go to such lengths?" "Because weak families are vulnerable families. If Rossi and I destroy each other over you, she fills the power vacuum." His jaw clenched. "And she gets revenge for me humiliating her 3 years ago." "But Rossi confirmed the DNA. My father—" She stopped, unsure what to call him anymore. Rossi believed what he was shown. "But what if Alessandro wasn't your father? What if—" Dante's phone rang, cutting off his theory. He answered, face darkening. "When? Where?" He hung up, already moving to the door. "What happened?" "Caterina Vitale was just found dead in her apartment. Single gunshot, execution style. The crime scene was controlled chaos. Police on Rossi's payroll secured the perimeter while Dante's people searched for evidence before it could disappear. Caterina lay in a pool of blood, her eyes still open in surprise. Beside her, your mother's journal, the one she'd given Elara, burned in the fireplace, mostly ash now." "Convenient," Dante muttered, photographing everything. "She gives you the journal, then dies before we can question her, and the evidence burns." "Someone's cleaning up." Lorenzo appeared beside them. "Boss, we found this in her safe." He handed over a key and a note. Dante read aloud. "If you're reading this, I'm dead. Isabetta's reach is longer than I thought. The truth is at La Rosanera, box 247. Trust no one." "La Rosanera?" Elara's voice shook. "That's the bank my mother used. She mentioned it once before she died." "Then that's where we go." Dante pocketed the key. "Now, before Isabetta realizes Caterina left insurance." The bank vault was all steel and secrets. Box 247 was small, unassuming. Inside, a single USB drive and a letter in Giuliana's handwriting, verified by Elara immediately as her mother's script. Dante plugged the USB into his laptop. Video files appeared, dated 23 years ago. The first video showed a young Giuliana, visibly pregnant, crying. "Vittorio, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. Sorry for the lies, the betrayal. But Alessandro Corvino is not my baby's father. He never touched me that way. I let you believe it, to protect the truth, to protect you." Elara gripped the desk, legs weak. "What?" The video continued. "The father is someone neither family could ever accept, someone who would start a war worse than any Corvino-Rossi conflict. That's why I'm running. That's why Elara can never know. Forgive me." The video ended. "Play the next one," Elara demanded. The second video showed Alessandro Corvino, drunk and rambling. "Rossi thinks I'm the father. Let him." Better he hates me than discovers the truth, that Giuliana's child belongs to his own brother, Marco Rossi. The shame would destroy him. So I'll carry this secret to my grave and let Vittorio believe I'm the villain. Some lies are mercy. The laptop screen went dark. Silence consumed the vault like a living thing. Your uncle, Dante finally said. Marco Rossi, Vittorio's younger brother who died in a car accident 20 years ago, right after you disappeared. Oh, God. Elara covered her mouth. Rossi doesn't know. He spent 20 years believing that you're the product of his greatest enemy when you're actually his brother's child, his blood, his actual family. Dante's voice held awe and horror. Isabetta doesn't know this. Neither does Rossi. We're the only ones. And we're not related, Elara breathed, the weight of 3 days lifting. We're not brother and sister. Their eyes met. Heat, relief, hunger colliding in the space between them. We're not, Dante confirmed, his voice rough. But we have a bigger problem now. What? If Rossi discovers you're his niece, his actual blood family, he'll never let you go. His obsession will be worse. Dante closed the laptop. And if Isabetta finds out her carefully constructed lie is unraveling, she'll kill you to prevent the truth from surfacing. Then what do? We use the lie. His mind worked rapidly. Let everyone believe you're a Corvino. It protects you from Isabetta's suspicion. But we know the truth. We can be together without... A gunshot shattered the vault's silence. Lorenzo fell, blood blooming across his chest. Behind him, Isabetta stood with smoking gun and cold smile. Did you really think I wouldn't have this bank monitored? She stepped over Lorenzo's body casually. The moment you accessed that box, alarms triggered. And now, she aimed the gun at Elara. You both die. The USB dies, and my version of reality is all that remains. Dante moved like lightning, shoving Elara behind him. You'll have to go through me. That's the idea, darling. Isabetta's finger tightened on the trigger. A voice boomed through the vault. Lower your weapon. Vittorio Rossi stood in the doorway, flanked by 10 armed men. His face was carved from granite. Isabetta Nero, you're in violation of neutral ground. This bank is under my protection. How nice of you to join us, Vittorio. Isabetta didn't lower her gun. Just in time to watch your daughter die with her Corvino lover. She's not his daughter, Dante said clearly. And she's not mine either. Rossi's expression flickered. What? We found Giuliana's confession, DNA proof. Elara is... Dante paused, meeting Elara's eyes. This moment would change everything. Reveal the truth and protect her, or keep the secret and maintain their advantage. Elara made the choice for him. I'm your brother's daughter, Vittorio. Marco Rossi was my father. Alessandro Corvino took the blame to spare your family's shame. The vault seemed to hold its breath. Rossi's gun slowly lowered. His face crumbled, 20 years of anger transforming into something raw. Marco, my baby brother. And I never knew. Never even suspected. Which is why, Isabetta snarled, this ends now. She pulled the trigger. Time fractured. Dante lunged, taking the bullet meant for Elara. They crashed to the ground, his blood hot against her hands. No! Elara's scream shattered reality. Rossi's men opened fire. Isabetta dove for cover, escaping through a service corridor in the chaos. Elara pressed her hands to Dante's chest, the wound pumping blood. Stay with me. Please, Dante, stay with me. His eyes found hers, gray fading to something distant. Worth it, he whispered. You're worth everything. His eyes closed. The surgery lasted 6 hours. Elara sat in the private hospital corridor, Dante's blood still staining her hands, her dress, her soul. She couldn't wash it away. Wouldn't. Rossi paced like a caged wolf, his empire mobilized to find Isabetta, but the woman had vanished like smoke, leaving only death and chaos in her wake. He saved your life, Rossi finally said, his voice strange. A Corvino took a bullet for a Rossi. For me, Elara corrected hollowly. He did it for me. Yes. Rossi studied her with new eyes. You love him. It wasn't a question, but she answered anyway. More than my next breath. My brother Marco, your father, he loved like that once. Got him killed. Rossi sat beside her, suddenly looking every one of his 57 years. Loving dangerously runs in our blood, it seems. The surgical doors opened. The doctor emerged, exhausted. He's alive. Barely. The bullet missed his heart by centimeters, but he's lost a lot of blood. The next 48 hours are critical. Can I see him? Family only. She is family, Rossi said with finality. She's my niece. She sees him. Dante looked broken against white sheets, machines breathing for him, tubes everywhere. The man who'd seemed invincible reduced to fragile mortality. Elara took his hand, pressing it to her tear-stained cheek. You don't get to die on me, Dante Corvino. Not after everything. Not now that I know we can... Her voice cracked. Wake up, please. His fingers remained still. She stayed there for hours, talking to him, begging him, bargaining with God and the devil alike. Finally, exhaustion claimed her, and she fell asleep with her head on his bed, their fingers intertwined. She didn't see his eyes flutter open briefly, didn't see him look at her with such longing before the darkness reclaimed him. Day 2 brought unexpected complications. Dante developed a fever, his body fighting infection. The doctors worked frantically while Elara was forced to wait outside, helpless and breaking. A familiar voice cut through her despair. He's a fighter. He'll survive. She looked up to find a man in his 60s, distinguished and dangerous. He extended his hand. Antonio Moretti, was Alessandro Corvino's closest friend, and the only person who knew the complete truth about your mother. Elara's exhaustion made her blunt. Everyone knew something. No one knew everything. Which truth do you claim? The one that matters most. Antonio sat uninvited. Alessandro didn't just take the blame for your parentage. He engineered the entire cover-up because Marco Rossi begged him to, in his final moments before that accident. Accident. Murder. Antonio's eyes were hard. Marco discovered Isabetta's father, Carlo Nero, was planning to overthrow Vittorio. Marco was going to expose it. So Carlo staged the car accident. But before Marco died, he called Alessandro, told him about you and Giuliana, begged him to keep you safe by letting everyone believe you were Corvino's bastard. Elara's world tilted again. Why are you telling me this now? Because Isabetta isn't just trying to destroy you and Dante. She's finishing what her father started, taking down both the Rossi and Corvino families to become Naples's undisputed queen. He handed her a file. These are the originals, real DNA tests, testimonies, proof of everything. Marco's insurance policy, kept hidden for 23 years. Why give them to me? Because Dante is like a son to me. And you, he smiled sadly, you're the only thing keeping him alive right now. That man in there, he's fighting to get back to you. Don't let lies and schemes steal what you've both bled for. He left as mysteriously as he'd arrived. Day 3 brought a turning point. Dante's fever broke. His eyes opened, truly opened, and found her immediately. Elara, he rasped, voice destroyed from intubation. She was at his side instantly, tears flowing freely. You're awake. You're actually awake. Did we win? Each word was effort. You're alive. That's all that matters. His hand squeezed hers weakly. Isabetta? Gone. But we have proof now. Everything. She showed him Antonio's file. We know the complete truth. About my father, about the cover-up, about Isabetta's family. Dante's eyes sharpened despite his weakness. Then we can end this. Later. Right now, you need to heal. No. He tried to sit up, groaning with pain. Every moment we wait, Isabetta prepares. She'll strike when we're vulnerable. You were just shot. And I'll be shot again if we don't. He stopped, really looking at her, at the blood on her dress, the exhaustion in her eyes, the love written across her face. You stayed. Where else would I be? With Rossi. Safe. Away from me and this hell. His voice dropped to something raw. I almost got you killed, Fiore. I'm poison. Everything I touch. She kissed him. Cut off his self-destruction with her lips on his, gentle because of his injuries but fierce in meaning. When she pulled back, Dante's eyes blazed. That's not fair. Nothing about us is fair. We're not supposed to exist, not supposed to love each other. But I do. God help me, Dante Corvino. I love you so much it terrifies me. Elara, don't tell me it's too dangerous or too complicated or too impossible. You took a bullet for me. You nearly died in my arms, so don't you dare push me away now. He cupped her face with his free hand, thumb tracing her cheekbone. I love you. Have since the moment you stood in that ballroom looking like you'd fight the world despite being terrified. But loving me means war, death, chaos. I know. She pressed her forehead to his. I'm choosing it anyway. Choosing you. Always. The door burst open. Rossi entered, face grim. We have a problem. Dante tensed. Isabetta. Worse. She's called a conclave, all the families, tomorrow night. She's presenting evidence that you and Elara are planning to unite Corvino and Rossi territories and eliminate everyone else. She's turning Naples against you. We need to be there, Dante said immediately. You can barely sit up, Elara protested. Then we have less than 24 hours to make sure I can stand. His jaw set with determination. Because if we don't show, she wins by default. And if she wins, everyone we care about dies, Rossi finished. So here's what's going to happen. I'm calling in every favor, every alliance. We present Antonio's evidence, expose her father's betrayal, and destroy her credibility. She won't go quietly, Dante warned. Good. Rossi's smile was predatory. Neither will we. That night, while Dante slept fitfully, Elara stood by the window, watching Naples glitter like scattered jewels. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Enjoy your reunion while it lasts, little Rose. Tomorrow, you'll watch your lover die. And then I'll kill Vittorio. And then you'll be alone, just like your mother, broken and bleeding. Some legacies can't be escaped. Elara deleted the message, but the words carved themselves into her heart. She looked at Dante, wounded, vulnerable, hers, and made a decision. If Isabetta wanted war, she'd give her war, but on her terms. Opening Antonio's file, she found a phone number, made a call that would change everything. It's Elara Rossi, she said into the phone, using her true family name for the first time. I want to meet, alone, just you and me, Isabetta. Let's finish this. A laugh echoed through the line. Finally, some spine. Tomorrow, 4 p.m., Castel dell'Ovo. Come alone, or Dante dies first. The line went dead. Elara looked at the man she loved, sleeping restlessly, fighting to heal. Forgive me, she whispered, but I won't let you sacrifice yourself again. She slipped out of the hospital into the night, leaving only a note. Some battles, we fight alone. Trust me, I love you. E. Dante woke to emptiness. The chair beside his bed vacant, Elara's warmth gone. Then he saw the note. No. He ripped out his IV, ignoring the searing pain in his chest. Lorenzo rushed in, eyes widening. Boss, you can't. She went to meet Isabetta alone. Where's my phone? Dante's voice was ice and fury. Where's Rossi? Already mobilizing. He found security footage of her leaving. She took a cab to Castel dell'Ovo. Dante's blood ran cold. The ancient fortress on the bay, isolated, perfect for an ambush. Get me there. Now. You're in no condition. Dante grabbed Lorenzo's collar with his good hand. She's walking into a death trap because she's trying to save me. So either help me or get out of my way. Elara stood on the castle ramparts, wind whipping her hair, 4 p.m. sun casting long shadows. The ancient stones had witnessed centuries of blood. Today would add to the ledger. Punctual. I appreciate that. Isabetta emerged from the shadows, gun in hand but lowered. She looked immaculate as always. Designer dress, perfect makeup. Only her eyes betrayed the madness within. You wanted me alone. Here I am. Elara forced steel into her voice. Let's end this. Oh, we will. Isabetta circled like a shark. But first, indulge my curiosity. Why sacrifice yourself for him? For Dante? Men like him destroy everything they touch. He's nothing like you think. Isn't he? Isabetta laughed. Did he tell you about Sophia, the woman he was engaged to before me? She disappeared when she threatened to leave him. Or Marco, his best friend, who mysteriously died after discovering Dante was skimming family profits. You're lying. Am I? Ask yourself why a man that powerful is still unmarried at 35. Why everyone close to him dies or disappears. Isabetta's voice turned venomous. He's cursed, little Rose. And you're just the latest victim. Doubt flickered. Elara crushed it. If that's true, why do you want him dead so badly? Because, Isabetta's mask cracked, he's the only man who ever saw through me, who rejected me, who made me feel small. She raised the gun fully now. And for that, he needs to suffer. Watching you die will break him. Then I'll kill him. Then Rossi. And Naples will be mine. Except Rossi has the evidence. Antonio's files. Your father's betrayal. You mean this evidence? Isabetta pulled out a flash drive, dangling it mockingly. Antonio's already dead. I killed him this morning, and I have the only copies. Horror gripped Elara. You're lying. Am I? Check your phone. I sent proof. With trembling hands, Elara looked. A photo of Antonio, throat slit, message written in blood. No more truths. Now, Isabetta continued, you're going to call Dante. Tell him you're leaving him, that you choose a safe life with Rossi over his dangerous world. Break his heart before I break his body. Never. Then I kill Lorenzo. He's zip-tied in the chamber below. Then I kill Rossi's daughter from his first marriage. Yes, he has one, kept secret in Switzerland. Then I kill Dante's mother, still alive in a convent outside Rome. Isabetta smiled at Elara's shock. I have people everywhere, dear, and if you don't make that call, they all die within the hour. Elara's mind raced. And if I do, I let them live. You jump from these ramparts. Clean, simple, a tragic suicide. Dante thinks you couldn't handle the violence, chose death over loving him. He destroys himself with guilt. I sweep in, consolidate power. Everyone wins. Except me. Well, yes. But martyrdom has its poetry. Elara walked to the edge, looking down at jagged rocks and churning water 200 feet below. You promise they live. Scout's honor. Isabetta's gun never wavered. Elara pulled out her phone, dialed Dante. It rang once. Elara, where are you? I'm coming. Don't. She forced ice into her tone, channeling every acting skill she'd never known she possessed. I can't do this, Dante. This world, the violence, the death. I'm not strong enough. What are you talking about? What did Isabetta... This is my choice. I'm leaving. Going with Rossi to Switzerland. Starting over. Forgetting you. Silence. Then his voice, shattered. You're lying. I know you. You don't. You never did. We barely know each other, Dante. It was just adrenaline. Trauma bonding. Not love. Never love. Each word was a knife in her own heart. Goodbye. She hung up, turned to Isabetta. Done. Now let them go. Of course. Isabetta texted rapidly. There. Orders sent. They live. She gestured to the edge with her gun. Your turn. Elara climbed onto the parapet, wind threatening to sweep her away. Below, waves crashed like hungry mouths. Any last words? Just one. Elara smiled sadly. You're wrong about Dante. He's not cursed. He's just never found someone worth fighting his demons for. Until me. She stepped into empty air, time suspended. A hand caught her wrist. Dante, appearing from nowhere, pulling her back with his wounded arm, screaming in agony but not letting go. No! Isabetta fired. The bullet caught Dante's shoulder, spinning him. But he didn't release Elara, dragging them both back onto solid stone. How? Isabetta shrieked. You couldn't have GPS tracker in her bracelet, Dante gasped, covering Elara with his body. Did you really think I wouldn't protect her? Rossi's men swarmed from below, surrounding Isabetta. She fired wildly, catching two, but there were too many. It's over, Isabetta, Rossi emerged, his face carved from granite. Drop the weapon. Never. She aimed at Elara again. Dante moved, despite the pain, despite the blood, put himself between the gun and the woman he loved. The shot echoed. But it wasn't Isabetta's gun. Lorenzo stood in the doorway, smoking weapon in hand. Isabetta looked down at the bloom of red spreading across her chest, surprise frozen on her face. That's for stabbing me in the bank vault, Lorenzo said coldly. I'm harder to kill than you thought. Isabetta crumpled, her gun clattering. She laughed wetly, blood on her lips. You think this ends anything? Naples will tear you apart for loving each other. Let them try, Dante said, holding Elara against him. I've survived worse. Have you? Isabetta's eyes gleamed with final malice. Check your phone, Corvino. The conclave started an hour ago. While you were here, they voted. You've been exiled, both families, disowned. You have nothing. Her eyes glazed over. Still. Dante pulled out his phone with shaking hands. 20 missed calls. 1 voicemail. He played it on speaker. Dante, it's Marco Benedetti, Conclave Chairman. Given recent events and your relationship with Elara Rossi, both families have voted unanimously. You're stripped of Corvino leadership. Rossi keeps his position but must disown his niece. Effective immediately. You have 24 hours to leave Naples. Both of you. This is mercy. Next time, it's death. The message ended. Elara and Dante stared at each other, covered in blood, surrounded by bodies and betrayal. We lost everything, she whispered. No. He kissed her fiercely, tasting salt and iron and survival. We lost their world. But we still have each other. Is that enough? It has to be. He pulled her closer. Because I'm not giving you up. Not for families, not for power, not for anything. Rossi approached, his expression conflicted. The conclave's decision is final. I can't protect you anymore without losing everything I've built. I understand, Elara said softly. Thank you for trying. But, Rossi continued, pressing an envelope into her hands, your father Marco left you an inheritance. A villa in Capri. Money, a new identity. Enough to start over. His voice cracked. Be happy, nipote. Be everything your father never got to be. He walked away, shoulders bent under the weight of duty and love. Dante looked at Elara, bruised, bloodied, beautiful. So, exile, new identities, running forever. Still want this? She kissed him, pouring everything unsaid into the contact. When they broke apart, her answer was clear. Until my last breath. They left Naples as the sun set, 2 ghosts disappearing into legend. But legends never truly die, and some loves are worth any price. 6 months later, Capri. The villa overlooked the Tyrrhenian Sea, white walls glowing in morning light. Elara tended her garden, roses, always roses, while Dante watched from the terrace, coffee in hand, finally at peace. They'd become ghosts. Alessandro and Giuliana Marchesi, according to their new papers. A simple couple running a small flower shop and vineyard. No bodyguards, no wars, no blood. Just them. You're staring again, Elara called, not looking up from her pruning. Can't help it. He descended the steps, wrapping arms around her waist from behind. Still can't believe you're real. That this is real. She leaned into him, their bodies fitting perfectly now, all walls demolished. Some days I can't either. I keep expecting to wake up in that hospital. You dying. Isabella winning. Shh. He kissed her temple. That world is dead. We're alive. That's what matters. 6 months of healing. His wounds had scarred, physical and emotional, but he'd let her in, let her see the broken parts. She'd shared her own, the abandonment, the loneliness, the fear of never being enough. Together they'd built something neither had ever known. Home. Lorenzo called. Dante said softly. Naples is stabilizing. Benedetti took over both families, merged them. He's actually bringing peace. And Rossi? Semi-retired, spends his time searching for his other daughter in Switzerland. Dante paused. He asks about you. Every call. Elara's throat tightened. What do you tell him? That you're happy. That you're loved. That you're finally safe. Am I? She turned in his arms. Really safe? Or is this just borrowed time? I won't lie to you, Fiore. His hand cupped her face. There's always risk. Someone might recognize us. Someone might want revenge. But we face it together, she finished. Always. A car approached up the winding road. Both tensed, old instincts dying hard. But it was just the mailman, leaving a package. Inside, a wedding invitation. Lorenzo Russo weds Maria Benedetti. Your presence would honor us, though we understand if ghosts prefer to stay dead. But know this, Naples remembers. Naples is grateful. You gave us peace through your sacrifice. Elara read it twice. We can't go. Too dangerous. I know. But Dante's eyes held longing for the city he'd ruled, the life he'd commanded. Do you regret it? She asked quietly. Giving up everything for me? He pulled her close, fierce and tender. Listen carefully, because I'll only say this once more. You are everything. Power, respect, fear. I had all that, and I was empty. Hollow. Then you stumbled into my world with your green eyes and defiant heart, and suddenly I understood what my brother died searching for. What your father found with your mother. He kissed her deeply. I regret nothing. Not one sacrifice, not one scar. You're my redemption, Elara. Tears streamed down her face. And you're mine. My impossible love, my dangerous salvation. Marry me. She blinked. What? Marry me. Today. Tomorrow. I don't care when. But be my wife. Let me spend every remaining day proving you didn't choose wrong. Dante. He pulled out a ring, simple, elegant. A rose etched into the band. I had this made months ago. Been carrying it, waiting for the right moment. But there is no right moment. There's just us, and this life we've stolen from fate. Yes. No hesitation, no doubt. Yes. 1,000 times. Yes. He slid the ring on her finger, and they kissed as the Mediterranean sun blessed their union. 2 weeks later, the ceremony was small. Just them, a local priest, and the witness, Lorenzo, who'd come alone and would leave the same way. Elara wore simple white flowers in her hair. Dante wore linen, relaxed, transformed from Mafia king to devoted husband. I pronounce you man and wife. When they kissed, it tasted like freedom. Congratulations, boss, Lorenzo said afterward, embracing Dante carefully. You look happy. I am. Good. Lorenzo handed Elara an envelope. From Rossi. He said he can't be here, but his heart is. Inside, a letter. My dearest Elara, your father Marco would be so proud of the woman you've become. Strong, brave, true. Forgive an old man for the years we lost, for the danger I brought to your door. I won't ask you to return. Your happiness is worth more than my selfish need for family. But know you'll always have a place with me, if you ever choose to claim it. Dante Corvino, I was wrong about him. He's not his father. He proved that by choosing love over empire. Protect each other, honor each other, and please, if you're ever blessed with children, tell them about Marco, about how love, even forbidden love, is always worth fighting for. With all my heart, your uncle, Vittorio. Elara wept. Dante held her. Lorenzo gave them privacy. 3 years later, the flower shop thrived. Petali di Rosa was famous throughout Capri for its arrangements and the mysterious, beautiful couple who ran it. Elara stood behind the counter, hand resting on her swollen belly, 7 months pregnant. Their daughter kicked enthusiastically. "She's restless," Dante said, appearing with fresh-cut roses. He knelt, kissing Elara's stomach. "Just like her mother." "Or her father," Elara countered, running fingers through his hair. Silver touched his temples now, giving him distinguished elegance. The shop bell chimed. An older man entered, refined, weary, hopeful. Vittorio Rossi. Time stopped. "Hello, nipote," he said quietly. I hope this intrusion is forgiven. But I heard about the baby and I couldn't." His voice broke. "I needed to see you. Just once." Elara looked at Dante. He nodded, squeezing her hand. "You're not intruding," she said softly. "Your family." Rossi's eyes filled. "I've kept watch, from a distance, making sure you were safe, that no threats emerged. Benedetti honors the exile, but there are always rogue elements. So You've been protecting us," Dante finished. "I know. I noticed. Thank you." The three of them stood in the flower shop, surrounded by roses and second chances. "Would you like to stay for dinner?" Elara offered. "Meet your great niece when she arrives?" "I would be honored." Rossi wiped his eyes unashamedly. That night, they ate under stars. Rossi shared stories of Marco, funny, tender, real, making Elara's father a person, not just a tragic footnote. When he left, he embraced them both. "Be happy. That's all any of us really want." They watched his car disappear, then Dante pulled Elara close. "Our daughter needs a name," he murmured. "Giuliana," Elara said immediately. "After my mother, and Rose for her middle name. Giuliana Rose Marchesi." "Perfect." He kissed her, slow and deep. "Like you. Like us. Like this impossible life we built. Do you ever miss it? The power, the control?" "Not for a second." He placed his hand over hers on her belly. "This is power. You, our child, this peace. This is what men like me kill for but never achieve. And I have it. I have everything." Thunder rumbled in the distance, storm coming. But inside their villa, surrounded by flowers and love and hard-won peace, Dante and Elara were untouchable. They'd walked through fire, survived blood and betrayal, chose each other over empires. And in the end, love hadn't just conquered all. It had redeemed everything. The end. Some loves are written in blood. Others are written in petals. The rarest are written in both. And those loves never die. Blood and petals. A tale of forbidden passion, sacrifice, and the redemptive power of love.